Welcome again to my channel, Clownzilla Gaming. Coming to you from Portland, Oregon. Doing another video, just a little bit of different areas and avenues that I've touched on, different roadblocks that I've hit, different things that have transpired, and where I'm at now, um, and what I plan to do. So, like I put in my last video, the Department of Justice issues grant money, or government grant money that's funded by taxpayers, to fund what is called a pre-crime prevention program ran by the Department of Justice, the DOJ, that actually funds neighborhood watch community organizations that work with local security guard companies such as Securitas. They also work for privatized commercialized business, privatized owners of businesses. And what these security guard companies do is they hire privatized individuals. There's no record of that. So what they do is, like, let's say if you're ex-military and you get out of the military, you're looking for work. A security guard will hire you privately, right, and pay you pretty much underneath the table to do these kind of tactics and covert surveillance and different kind of structural things. So a couple different things that we talked about last time was situational awareness, being aware of your surroundings, right? When you leave your property, you need to write down when you leave your property, what time you leave your property. If you see the same car in a location more than once, in two different locations or in different parts of the city or circling a block, you need to take pictures of it. Another thing they like to do is they will station themselves 2 to 3 blocks outside of the actual site. So, like, if you're walking down the road, they're going to put themselves 2 to 3 blocks outside of your visual view, but they still have a visual on you and they know generally where you're going. You have to understand, these people look at the city like a grid, as if it is a grid, right? Like a puzzle. Okay, so no matter where you go on the grid, they're looking at it like a grid. They have multiple ways to keep coming at you, so they're not going to stop. So the best thing you can do is actually take pictures and video record it. I would say keep your distance. They use something that is called a hands-off method. In other words, they're not going to put their hands on you unless they're ordered to by the handler. They want you to enact violence, so they want you to be violent or aggressive towards them so they can enact violence back upon you, right? So that's part of their goals, right? Essentially what they're doing is they're creating an action to get a reaction, right? Which actually escalates situations for people that don't know what's transpiring or what has happened or what they're actually going through. After every single situation or scenario, what you need to do is you need to file a police report. Even if the local police department doesn't agree with you, listen to you, wants to gaslight you, act like they don't know what you're talking about, because that's exactly what they will do. The moment that you mention something so far is called the Titan Fusion Center, they're going to act like they don't know what that is. They're going to play with little mind games. They're going to, oh, well, what's the Titan Fusion Center, right? They're going to play like they're super fucking stupid, but the reality is they know exactly what this is because they're part of this, right? They're part of this organization. They're part of this governmental grant thing. And if it wasn't illegal what they're doing, then it would be, it is public, but see, stalking is a crime, right? So when you stalk somebody or you harass somebody or you consistently torment somebody, that is a crime, right? And so essentially what you need to do is file the police report, file the whole train. If you get their license plate numbers, you have to understand that 90% of what you need is actually publicly funded information. So you can grab all information that you need off of from the public. I mean, essentially you can go down to the DMV and request the addresses, names, dates, and locations of that individual or the registered owner of that vehicle. Hell, you can even go back 7 years. All you have to do is tell the DMV that you are there to investigate. You are a private journalist investigating a story, right? And they will release those documents to you as to who owns the vehicles and what houses they're registered to. Upon that, the next step that you take is that if you see that same individual again, you take another picture and then you issue what is called an order of protections. The order of protections is issued, and after the order of protections, then you want to issue what is called a stalking order, right? After that, then you hit what is called a torts claim, T-O-R-T, torts claim. That gets you into the point of filing for a lawsuit, right? Now you get your day in court. So now you get to bring these people to court. You get to look at them while they stand across from you. And you have to understand something too. Affidavit in the letter of the law, right? Because every legal word in the law means one thing different than what you actually think it means. So if I was to say, what does a person mean to you? You would say, a person means to me a human being or an individual or something like that. That's not the legal definition of a person underneath the 11th edition of the Black Law Dictionary, right? So you need to know the laws and what you say and how you say it and when you say it, and you need to speak correctly, right? And anything that you do. Another thing I want you to do about situational awareness is I want you to be aware of your surroundings, right? Where did this originally transpire and who did it transpire around? Was there a commercial business located? Was there a privatized business located? Are you in a bougie neighborhood? Are you surrounded by bougie people that got their nose stuck up, that look down upon other people, right? Are you in a neighborhood of people of the caliber that aren't the same caliber of you? They're not the same kind of individual as you. They did not come from the same kind of mud. They grew up on the other side of the tracks. You grew up on one side of the tracks, and that is how they defy you, right? And so you need to use situational awareness to dissect the situation around you. Take a second, stop, and go, okay, where did this start? Why did it start? Who have I talked to? What governmental buildings are there? Which leads me into my next subject. So, generally, the ones that are going to be doing this are governmental employees. They're city employees or they're federal employees, because they're the ones who have taken training and classes for this. It's a government funded program. It's pretty simple, man. You can go up, look it up. It's called Pre-Crime Prevention Program, COPS program, right? It's a form of community mobbing, aka stalking. If you speak out against it, generally nobody wants to hear it, and they silence it because they all think you're generally crazy, or they play like they're crazy. But those are the ones that are typically involved with it. So what I want you to understand is that wherever you're at within your community, you need to locate the closest governmental building or governmental entity that is funded through taxpayer money. Also, another good interesting thing to look for is any kind of businesses that are funded through governmental grants, right? So if a business has a governmental contract, there's a website, which I will disclose down in the link below, that you can actually access, and you can find out who within your city has governmental contracts and receives governmental funding for those businesses. Now, you are well within your rights to go to that business, film that business, FOIA request that business. You can find out how much the government gave them. You can find out how many employees they have. Hell, you can even find out the employees' names and how much they make, really, if you want to, because that's all public information. So those are the outlets that I would look for, but generally it is going to be your city officials that are doing it, right? Your county, local liaisons, city liaisons, your attorney general of your state is going to be involved in this program because he's well aware of it, right? He's a state attorney general, so he's aware of the program, the numbers that I gave you. Google it. You're more than welcome to look it up yourself. But that's pretty much what I wanted to kind of touch on, is that it's kind of fucked up that governmental employees are the ones that are kind of involved in this whole situation and scenario. Because when my situation transpired, what happened to me was I was by what is called the Water Bridge and City Company, and something else that is called the PBS City Council building. I have since then gone back to that building, found one of the cars that had stalked me with one of the license plates that I have written down, and have taken a picture of said car. So I've also requested all the information from the DMV, as well as all public information on the 2 governmental buildings that I've found. Understand that the Freedom of Information Act is there for you to use, and all public information is there for you to use, and I encourage you as the people to use that information. FOIA request the Department of Justice and find out what is written in the Titan Fusion Center about you, because that's essentially what it is. See, when the government has no more enemies abroad, they're going to make the enemies ashore. And it's that simple. So we are the government's enemy. The people are the government's enemy because we are more than them. And it's just that simple. So, again, that's all I got, man. Peace. And good luck. If you guys need any help or research, or you're looking for any avenues of support, I encourage you again to check out Mr. Richard Moore with the Anti-Stalking Association of America. Again, that's Mr. Richard Moore on Instagram, and the Anti-Stalking Association of America on YouTube.